At fullback, the man who played one of his best games of his career last week, and that's Kurt Gidley. On the wings, some boys from Wicklow Island, Brian Carney with workaholic Anthony Quinn. Let's have a look at the centres. A nice combination. Matt Gidley's just a class act, while Georgie Carmont likes to graft away and he'll work hard all night. The halves. Now, this is probably the biggest game of young Jared Muller's career. He'll be very nervous, but alongside him is a man who's done everything in the game, the skipper, Andrew Johns. The back row for Newcastle, well, they're not big, but they're very, very good. Regan Tanner with the rugged Kirk Reynoldsson and Clint Newton. Watch his combination with Andrew Johns tonight. Up front, these two young props have really come of age over the last month. Josh Perry and Adam Waldo, and the hooker, Luke Quigley, comes in for Danny Medeiros. A big job for Luke. Now, the bench is a good one. Luke DeVico and Craig Smith. A lot of experience there with Riley Brown and Todd Lowry, the coach, Michael Hagan.
For the Broncos tonight, well, Justin Hodges will line up at fullback. He'll need to be better this week, and I believe he can be. On the wings, young Darius Boyd will join Carmichael Hunt, returning from a hamstring injury, a one-week layoff there. In the centres, it's the odd couple, Brent Tate, elusive, fast and ultra-competitive. The second rower comes centre David Stagg, will join him, a great defensive player. In the halves, it's the skipper, Darren Lockyer, at 5'8". What a wonderful player he is. And Shane Perry, another guy that will need to improve, especially in his kicking game, if the Broncos are to win. Hard-hitting Tony Carroll will lock the scrum, and the two big boppers have been in great form. Sam Thaiday and Brad Thorne will make up the second row. And up front for the Broncos, well, it's all class here. Petro Siva and Shane Webke, they have been in outstanding form over the past month, as has Sean Berrigan, who will be the hooker. The interchange for the visitors is Corey Parker and Dane Carlo, who will join Ben Hannett and Casey Maguire. The Broncos, of course, are coached by Wayne Bennett.
And Stephen Clark, 288th first grade game in charge, gets us underway.
So Brisbane running from right to left, and Newcastle bringing it out of the smoke haze to the 10-metre line. First tackle of the game. It's George Carmont who's tackled now, just inside the 20 on tackle 2.
Ray Carmichael Hunt at fullback, Justin Hodges on the left wing. As Newcastle get a penalty, a call coming in from the touch judge for one of the defenders' hands on the football. So a positional change straight away from the Brisbane team.
Stephen Clark in charge of this second qualifying semi-final tonight. Both teams this year have got a perfect record under Steve Clark, as Woolnough goes ahead after Newcastle have taken the tap free, and they press on towards the 30-metre line now with Josh Perry. Sivanasiva in 10 for Brisbane. Carroll last man up after making the tackle. Mullen feeding the ball away, and that's their lock forward, Regan Tanner, who plays it 20 metres out from the line. Johns is handy, waiting for Kurt Gidley to give him the ball on the short side. Johns works back to the open side, picks up Mullen, and Mullen is 2 metres away from the line on 5. Quigley a dummy half. Johns a little kick in behind, and it's covered up there by Berrigan, who will be forced in goal. Perfect end if you don't get 4 points.
Flying star from the Knights, helped by the penalty at the other end of the field. And what about the try-saving tackle from Shane Webke on Jared Mullen? The big fella on the inside hangs on to the jersey and strong enough to grab him to ground.
Brisbane with the line drop out, guarding the southern end in the first half. With Lockyer, Churchill medal winner in 2000. Sending it down to the halfway line for Perry to go rumbling back with the ball. Just outside the 30-metre line, he's met there by Webke and Sivanasiva. And here's another penalty, this time to Newcastle. The bookends have come up with a hand on the ball. It was Sivanasiva. 30 metres out, right in front, and Johns has decided to take the 2 points.
Perfect start by the Newcastle Knights. And if Andrew Johns can land the first 2 points of the game, that'll give a lot of his young chargers a little bit of confidence to see they're in front on the scoreboard. Hand on the football there from Petro Sivanasiva, not allowing Perry to play the ball. And Steve Clark right onto that. Past Andrew Johns in the tunnel as he was going out to play. I've never seen a more determined look on a man's face than what Andrew John portrayed before kickoff.
So there's the kick from Johns, and he's missed it from right in front, but obviously he got it dead. There's even a strange smile on the face of Andrew Johns, having missed a 2-point opportunity.
There was a wry smile from Andrew Johns. He'll get more important ones. As a booming dropout from Darren Lockyer. He won't make that same mistake as Perry. His third touch, and they've all been good ones.
Some long runs for Perry in the opening exchanges of this battle to survive in the Rugby League Telstra Premiership for this year. The winner going through to play Canterbury next Friday. Woolnough playing it on halfway. Quigley out, gives it to Johns. Johns away to the number 17, Reynoldson. And Kirk Reynoldson it is who plays the ball. And they go to the short side, and Johns persists in going from that side back to the open, this time with a pass back and across the ruck to Kurt Gidley. He plays it on the Brisbane 40-metre line, and Woolnough runs the ball at Brad Thorne. Down he goes, 35 metres out in the centre of the ground. Played back for Quigley again to come to Johns, this time again on the short side. He puts a kick up high into the breeze, taken over there by Darius Boyd, the winger. Snatched it out of the hands of Carmichael Hunt, really. And Brisbane are with the ball still inside their own 20, with Carmichael Hunt making a run from dummy half this time. 4.5 minutes gone, with Newcastle taking a shot at goal from right in front, with Johns missing it. The only real scoring opportunity, although Jared Mullen was captured by Webke just a metre short in a try attempt by Newcastle just prior to that. Here's Brad Thorne playing the ball just outside 30. Berrigan goes for a run from dummy half. Andrew sideline.
Yeah, Ray, you said not a huge crowd. Look, it's not meant to be home finals come week 2 of the playoffs, but enormous reception for the Knights when they came out. Has to be lifting for the players. And let me tell you too, the Broncos conceded 2 penalties inside the first 3 minutes. They only conceded 2 in the all of the 80 minutes last week against the Dragons.
Carney plays the ball inside 10. It's gone away to Matt Gidley, who does a little bit of shimmying there before giving the ball away to the man immediately on his left. And that was wing 3/4 Anthony Quinn. It's gone away on the 20-metre line now for Matt Gidley, who quickly went around to become first receiver on the short side. He's tackled and put away by Carroll. Woolnough, he goes ahead. He goes straight through Thorne, but he's running to Carroll. And Carroll doesn't take a backward step for anybody. Woolnough plays the ball. They go right. They go to Johns. They go to Tanner. And Tanner is put down by Friday, together with going in there Stagg, the centre 3/4, as Johns again puts in a kick, this time lobbing it over towards Darius Boyd. 20 metres out from his line. Now he's gone outside the 30-metre point, and he's put down and tackled there by Mullen. His right thigh strapped in that black elastic bandage as Brent Tate comes away now. About 8 metres short of halfway, and another penalty has gone, this time to Brisbane. Brisbane getting the penalty. He fancied that the arm was up around the neck, which is a relation, if you like, of the grapple, which has been outlawed this year. Brisbane then, they get their first opportunity, really. 25 out, the tap to be taken by Berrigan. Thorne goes behind Webke, goes away to Perry and then to Lockyer. Lockyer picks a second-man play out to Carmichael Hunt and now to Justin Hodges. Hodges, the winner of the grand final ring back in 2002. Now it's away for Lockyer. Then it's on to Perry. Now it's out to Thorne, out very wide, and he's taken down by Clint Newton. 12 on 12, but they're 12 metres out. Berrigan goes to Lockyer. Lockyer away to Tate. He slides. They hold him up, Newcastle. They force him towards the dead ball, and he's held up in goal. That's a brilliant save by Newcastle.
And great hustle there by Darren Lockyer, who came from the left-hand side of the field, sprinting around to the right-hand side to make the extra man, and nearly caught Newcastle napping. Here's Lockyer, comes from left all the way around to the right. Now he'll search the line, gets the cutout pass on the outside, just can't get the ball down, forced towards the in goal. They're still alive though.
Brisbane now punching it up the centre with Sivanasiva dragging players along with him. Quigley and Woolnough and Perry. Now they come away out to Lockyer, and Friday runs a dummy, but the pass went too deep. It went behind the intended receiver, David Stagg. He had to go back and plays the ball inside 20 now. Lockyer to his left foot. Back they go to where they came from. Up they go. I don't know that Matt Gidley got any peace in that exchange in the air. Now it's back to Siva. He's given the ball on to Tate. Tate gets the ball away. There's a Bronco taken out in back play. Clark said play on. I saw it. This is Tanner who's taken down.
Here it is.
Tackle by Tate. Now it's Woolno. Now Mullen. Now Carmon. And Carmon is taken over there by Brad Thorne and by Tony Carroll.
Josh Perry got a bit of a back problem out there, receiving some attention as his front row partner Adam Woolno is driven sideways. An early onslaught survived by Brisbane. They've answered in kind.
This is Quigley and Clint Newton taking it down the eastern corridor on the short side, just a couple of metres on Brisbane side of halfway. No score as John switches the point from the open to the blind side, and Carmon looked to put a play together with Quinn over there, but he was tackled and put away by Brent Tate. 40 metres out from the line. Johns goes to Mullen. Mullen comes to Carroll, gets the ball away to Johns. Johns gets the ball away out to Carmont. Now it's gone back from Quinn and picked up by Johns. Somehow or other he manages to get a kick in field. It's come down friendly for Carmichael Hunt. He comes outside 30 and he's pulled down over on the eastern side of the ground, about 15 metres from halfway. Tackled by George Carmont. Siva with the ball now, trying to bump his way through. And eventually he's put down and will play the ball just a couple of metres on his own side of halfway. Berrigan. Now it comes away to Perry. Perry gets the ball back, and it's with Tate coming from the right side to work. Just on the Newcastle side of the halfway. In fact, it's David Stagg. Ball played back now for Hodges. Hodges dancing with Quigley, and Quigley makes the tackle and puts him down on the Newcastle 40-metre line. Now it comes away again for Berrigan to go to Thaiday, and Thaiday will play it just outside 30. So an even swing of the pendulum so far. Berrigan in 9, goes to Perry in 7. The kick goes pretty much perpendicular. It's been allowed to bounce by Newcastle. It was good for Kurt Gidley, but he's been manhandled and pulled down by Brad Thorne. 10 metres away from the Newcastle line, Matthew Johns sideline.
Already in the first 10 minutes of this game, we've seen Andrew Johns switch the ball back behind the ruck. This is a plan he formulated in the State of Origin to burn the likes of Petro Siva and Webke out of juice. It's working nice at the moment.
Quigley from dummy half for Clint Newton, a strong run. 8 metres from halfway to be played by Newton, and again it goes out to Johns on the open side before Perry, who seemingly is okay again. He will play the ball a couple of metres on his side of halfway. 39 metres gained on those 5 tackles. Into Mullen it goes now, and he spears it down the ground, and a nice take by Darius Boyd back in the in goal. Here he comes now outside the 10 metres back towards centre field, and Gidley, a suspect tackle from Gidley. It's been ruled as high.
Hey, Kurt!
And then Perry has had a go at Gidley. And then Kurt Gidley has gone in to defend his elder brother.
Well, we need to be careful here. We know what happens to third man in. We saw that in evidence
Kurt Gidley, come and
last
stand there,
week.
wait.
Kurt will be called out with his brother, Matt.
Perry. Shane Perry. Number 7.
Mate, the penalty was already given. No, you were running back right, but you pushed him. You're taking the law in your own hands. Don't do it, because all that does is cause problems. Thank you. Mate, very, very strong warning to you. You come in, you're the third bloke in. Luckily for you, it didn't escalate into anything. If it did, you know where you were going, don't you? All right, you got the story, get it out.
Good handling. Players know. A high shot from Matt Gidley. He knew he was going to be penalised. And then there's just a little bit of push and shove. There's nothing in it. Play on.
So Darren Lockyer finding the line. Tap to be taken on the Brisbane 40-metre line. Thaiday goes to Perry, and Perry lofts a pass out to Carroll, who beats Carmon, beats him easily. Reynoldson has to go across and make quick ground to make the tackle on Carroll. Berrigan dummy half, Thorne is the runner. Reynoldson goes in and makes the tackle this time, together with Josh Perry and Luke Quigley. Ball is being played 12 metres into Newcastle's area. Berrigan goes back and looks for Perry, who picks up Webke. And Webke, of course, one of the players, if beaten tonight, we lose from the game. He'll play the ball on the 30-metre line, Newcastle's end. Perry is with it now. Carmichael Hunt, Justin Hodges. Hodges away from the left of the ground, swerving, picking up Siva. The big fella goes up the middle, gets away from the tackle of Perry, but pulled down by Kurt Gidley. Now Hodges. The ball has gone out to Perry. Perry held in the tackle, 5 metres away from the line. Fifth tackle now. Buried for Lockyer, and Lockyer looking to kick. He does kick, and it's too big. Wow, that's let Newcastle right off.
What great defence. And I'll tell you what both teams are doing well too. The Broncos are putting great pressure on Andrew Johns' kicking game, and the Newcastle Knights are putting great pressure on Lockyer's kicking game. They look certain to score there, and on the next play looked certain to score again, salvaged it, and then disrupted the fifth tackle option.
Here's the Irishman. Carney playing the ball inside the 30-metre line sloppily. Very sloppily. In fact, he's lost the ball, and that's going to give Brisbane a great opportunity. Just inside the 30, loose head and feed for them.
Good test of the Newcastle attitude now. They just dodged a bullet. They were working their way out of trouble. Now they're under pressure again. Carney lets out frustration. There were a few heads dropped in disappointment. You've got to put that out of your mind and come up with a great set of 6 in defence. Conversely, the Broncos think, try time, baby.
Out!
So it's from Perry now. Gone to Lockyer. Great opportunity here for Brisbane on a slippery pitch. It's Tate with the ball. 28 metres out from the line. Welcome to our audience right through Queensland, watching it live across the Nine Network. We are live from Aussie Stadium. The second of the 2 encounters this weekend. Carroll plays the ball. And from dummy half, Berrigan goes for Sivanasiva, who made a tremendous break just a couple of seconds ago. He will play it back for Berrigan again. They're closing in on the line. Perry over to Lockyer. Lockyer to Thaiday. And he's pulled down by Regan Tanner in combination with Josh Perry. But Newcastle stretched at the moment. Lockyer goes across and picks up Sivanasiva. Perry runs around him. Short ball away to Brad Thorne, and Thorne will play the ball a couple of metres out on tackle 5. Tate looks at the blind side but decides to go open to Perry, and Perry puts a kick in. Came off Newcastle, not played at, put back on the ground by Tony Carroll, picked up again by Perry. He kicks across the ground. Carney comes down with the ball, and again Newcastle have diffused a dangerous situation.
He'll be very relieved about that, Brian Carney. He gave the opportunity to the opposition, and as usual, it's about possession. Newcastle all the ball in the first 5 minutes, looked dangerous. Brisbane have had the better of it in the last 10 minutes and have looked equally good with the football. Reynoldsson, a mistake up the middle of the ruck.
Picked up by Stagg for Brisbane.
0!
So Newcastle really putting some pressure on themselves. Carney a knock on. Now Reynoldsson a loose carry. It's out to Lockyer. It's gone to Brent Tate. And he tries to step inside. He does. He beats Carmont. He will play the ball 7 metres out from the corner post. Over on the eastern side of the ground, it's with Lockyer. He goes to Brad Thorne, who flicks it back to Lockyer. Lockyer goes wide this time, out to Hodges. Hodges gets the ball away. Here's the first try to David Stagg. Stagg has scored for Brisbane. Something had to give. You can't keep giving them the opportunities.
They were given the football on 2 occasions. The second time they didn't need another invitation. Lovely offload from Brad Thorne. Now Brian Carney makes a bad play here. He came in when he should have had faith in the man inside. He rushed in when he realised that he wasn't needed. He had to race back out to his man, but he stayed interested in Justin Hodges and gave a saloon passage to David Stagg. Brian Carney made some poor decisions in defence last week. He's come up with one tonight.
29-year-old captain Darren Lockyer with the kicking duties while Corey Parker's not out there. 22 metres out. It's coming around. He's got it. A wonderful kick from a bloke who doesn't like kicking.
Let me show you how Justin Hodges kept Brian Carney interested. Watch him look over his right shoulder. He looks over his right shoulder, so Carney senses no danger on the outside. He looks back in field to see what Hodges is looking at. Hodges was always going to play outside, but by looking over his right-hand shoulder, he gave Carney something else to look at and then turned the pass outside. That's how he found the space.
Dominant tackle called by Stephen Clark back on the Brisbane 20-metre line. Sivanasiva has played a prominent role to the 30-metre line. Played and given from Berrigan to Perry, and Perry goes back to Brad Thorne. crouching low in that familiar rugby style that he obviously possesses, having played for the All Blacks. Now it's with Carroll almost to the halfway line. Berrigan looks around for his choices, goes back for Lockyer, and Lockyer puts a left foot kick on it, bouncing down on the 10-metre line and then skidding away towards the in-touch in goal. So a 20-metre restart for Newcastle.
There was some danger brewing there. Kurt Gidley realised that Brian Carney was a long way from the football. He haired across. You mentioned Sivana Siva, he's been the best forward on the field so far, and Regan Tanner has made some very important contributions in the opening 17 minutes for his team.
Play by Reynoldsson. Here is Tanner with the ball. 30 out from his own line. 6-0 then in favour of Brisbane. The first try coming at the 15th minute of the game, when Newcastle gave Brisbane too many opportunities. They really handed them the try. Carney, Reynoldsson, they both made mistakes, and here's Reynoldsson making another. Reynoldson's having an unhappy period in the game. Brisbane 35 away from the Newcastle line. Hodges takes just the one, takes the settler. Now they set it up. Berrigan looking at his big forwards wanting the ball. Thorne for a start. Takes it up to the 20-metre line. And every time you engage with Thorne, there's a battle to bring him down. 3 and 4 required.
They're in trouble, the Knights. Next 10 minutes is crucial.
Here's Lockyer working off Perry. It's gone out then for Hunt to flick past to Tate. Tate stepping. He's over the line. Brent Tate has scored. So both the centres have scored for Brisbane. So Corey Parker's online. 2 converted tries to Brisbane in the space of 5 minutes. Brisbane 12, Newcastle no score. Andrew Voss sideline.
Oh, what a treat though to see Carmichael Hunt back in finals footy. Missed last week with a hamstring injury. I mean, he's 19 years of age, but you've got to remember he's the incumbent Australian Test fullback, and really put his DNA on that try with a flick pass back inside.
Brad Thorne then carries it out to the 20-metre line as we get going again. And Brisbane, their confidence so high at the moment. This particular stadium, Aussie Stadium, has been very kind to them. Got a fantastic winning record here. Won grand finals here in 92 and 93 as Perry goes up the tunnel for Newcastle. Berrigan an inside ball for Stagg. Reynoldsson has coughed it up a couple of times. He's involved in that tackle. And the twice that he lost it have proven costly for Newcastle. Kurt Gidley on the kick return as his leg's taken by Berrigan. Now it's with Quinn. 25 out from his own line. One change by both coaches, Wayne Bennett and Michael Hagan.
And Luke Tavico is the man to come on for the injured Josh Perry. That will be a blow if he can't come back into this game.
Johns then pushing it quickly to the right to Gidley. Gidley goes to Carney, and Carney goes away from the sideline. Tackled by Thaiday and Stagg. Reynoldsson again with another carry. This time he takes it 5 metres into Brisbane's area. Johns is working on the short side this time. It goes down that corridor where Carmichael Hunt brings it back wearing 5, playing in the fullback position. 20 metres out from his line, Hodges with the 1 on his back. Running into DeVico, Reynoldsson, Tanner in 13, Woolnough in 10. 12-0 the score, 22 minutes gone, Brisbane leading. In the second qualifying semi-final here at Aussie Stadium this weekend, the Dragons progressing to next Saturday night. The winner of this goes on to Canterbury to play them on Friday night here. The Saturday night game at Telstra. Here is Thorne. 5 metres on the Newcastle side of halfway as Lockyer gets a kick away, but it wasn't all that difficult for Kurt Gidley. He got a nice bounce and he had no defence on him. Now it's with Matt Gidley, and he gives the ball away to Brian Carney, and Carney runs into the shoulder of Sivana Siva. That put the head back on the shoulders a little bit.
Just looking at the body language of both teams, Ray. Newcastle really struggling to get back when that kick went through. A lot of forward slowly back into play, some hands on hips. It's essential they don't make a mistake in this set of 6 and get to the kick.
Johns it was that gave that long ball to Carmont, and then he gave it quickly to Newton. Newton has given it to the man that's about to play the ball, Jared Mullen. To the halfway line goes Carmont. Now he's supported by Woolnough. Woolnough looking for an offload. Hanging on around the legs is Brent Tate, and over the top was Lockyer. Now the ball to Johns. He keeps it relatively low. It skims over the top of the grass and finds the touchline in front of Carmichael Hunt over in that corner.
That's a brilliant kick at the end of a great set of 6. Newcastle Knights ran them around in that set of 6. Here's the flick pass from Carmichael Hunt. And this fella is so elusive, Brent Tate. I know we say he's a great player, but he's also underrated. He's a bit like Stephen Bell from Manly. When he gets in traffic, he's very hard to contain and often comes out the other side. Newcastle Knights at their own end of the field trying to run the Brisbane Broncos around a little bit. That tactic will serve them well as the game goes on.
Out!
Brisbane with the scrum victory down on their own 10-metre line, and Boyd is tackled at that point. Lockyer going away for Hodges, and Hodges is tackled 20 metres out from his line. So things looking okay for Shane Webke at the moment. A lot of people came here thinking that this would be the swan song for the big fella, but 12-0 at the moment.
Well, he's just come out for his second stint, Ray, along with Dane Carlaw. Both Thaiday and Sivanasiva being given a break, as Tony Carroll again proves elusive on that right side.
40 metres out from the Brisbane line. From Tate has gone away for Carlaw, and Carlaw thumps it up to the halfway line. Pulled down in DeVico's tackle mainly. Now it's with Lockyer, and Lockyer tackled just after kicking the ball. Clark looked back, kept an eye on it. It was Luke Quigley's tackle. I thought it might have been one of those tackles that can be described as dangerous, but Clark saw it and said nothing about it. He said, I saw it, it's okay, play on. Matty John, sideline.
Yeah, what we've seen at the start of this contest is that with field position, with teams this attacking prowess, it's a mistake from Newton. I was about to say what the Knights need to do is settle down and start to play field position. Just get to Andrew Johnson's kicking game. With field position will come points. At the moment, they're chasing points too early. They don't need to do it.
They're in exactly the same position as they were last week against Manly. They trailed 12-0. And they were able to show patience on that occasion. Well, a couple of times in the first half they did try and push the football, but in the end it was okay. They should have learnt from that as Lockyer. Second man bounces off the chest of Carmichael Hunt.
Yep. So Clark is playing the advantage and giving the ball to Newcastle, even though Matt Gidley, I think it was, he didn't really want the football. All he wanted to do was put a shoulder charge on Carmichael Hunt. Carney dived on the ball and Clark gave them the advantage. Now he gives them the penalty. This is just what the doctor ordered. Webke breaching.
Well, what they need to do now is set up camp at the other end of the field. Good set of 6, finish with a positive kick, try and play some football. At the moment they're just working out of trouble, tackling their hearts out.
Craig Smith with a solid run. 12 metres into Brisbane's area. Quigley down the short side. 22 metres out now from Brisbane's line. Now can they take up residence down here? Matt Gidley away for DeVico, who's picked up and driven. Main tackler was Corey Parker. Here's Johns working just outside the 10-metre line with Craig Smith. Inside ball working back into the ruck area. Quigley then goes out to Johns. Johns, a short ball away to Mullen. Very, very flat pass. Some might have thought it was forward. This is the last. Johns now, a grubber kick in, hits the uprights, and Perry was so alert. Now it's away to Hodges, and Hodges is tackled by Carney 10 metres out from the Brisbane line.
Well, it's no coincidence or fluke that Andrew Johns hits the upright so often, but Shane Perry, some beautiful hands to grab a difficult ball.
Brisbane working it away just beyond their own 20-metre line. Third tackle down, Andrew Voss sideline.
Yeah, superb work, Shane Perry in the Newcastle room right at the moment. It's Josh Perry where their concern is. It's bruising to the hip. They have given him a painkiller. We're told he will be back.
Brisbane then 8 metres from halfway. This is their final tackle. Lockyer with a kick that's going down in between the winger and the fullback, and it's going to have to be played at. Kurt Gidley back into the field of play, confronted by Hodges, and Hodges deals it out to him. Strong tackle by Hodges. Here is Matt Gidley with the ball now. Gidley got through the front tackle, that of Perry. Pulled down eventually by Parker. Johns gets it away to DeVico, and Webke is there to bring him down. With a little help from Carlo. Back on the Newcastle 30-metre line we are with Craig Smith. And pulled down by Tony Carroll in 13. Lockyer going in as a second tackler. Now it's the 16 for Newcastle that brings it out. It's Riley Brown. Almost to the halfway line. Ball played there by Brown. As Johns puts a kick down into the corner again. And it's not going to find the line. Hunt brings it back. Newcastle bang him down. Strong tackle, Regan Tanner.
I think you'll find Matt Gidley had a fair role to play in that as well.
So there's the shot. It was Gidley's shoulder that made the real impact.
That's why people come to the footy.
Carlo in 15. On his own 30-metre line. 15 in from touch. Eastern side of the ground. As Tate takes a play where nobody gave a call to the dummy half, and Lockyer now puts a big kick down the ground. Kurt Gidley running away to his right, bringing it outside the 30-metre line. It was pulled down by David Stagg. And now it's with Carney. Perry coming back down the race as Craig Smith has put down about 9 metres on his own side of halfway.
Well, that's a great sign. He's been in tremendous form in recent weeks, Josh Perry. As Newcastle look to get back in this run. In a play. Beautiful work. Kurt Gidley's away.
Kurt Gidley down to the 30-metre line. Jared Mullen joins in. Brent Tate got him from behind. Newcastle with a chance now. Ball has been knocked down out of the grasp of Riley Brown. Play that, says the referee Clark. So he's going to put a scrum down with a Newcastle loose head and feed.
Time out.
Well, some tremendous sleight of hand here. Mullen across to Johns on the inside to Kurt Gidley. Then Mullen backed up for his second touch in that movement, got smashed.
That's all game's on. Not beforehand.
Newcastle were looking for a penalty.
Keep it in, Brent.
Then Brent Tate was able to get his hand in between the passer and the intended receiver.
So here's a great chance for Newcastle to get some points on the board. Kurt Gidley just inside the 20-metre line. They keep going down the blind side with their lock forward Tanner. Matt Gidley is the dummy half. They cut out Craig Smith. They go very wide out to DeVico. And DeVico is put down 12 metres out from the uprights. Pulled down by Brad Thorne and Corey Parker. From Brown, it's gone to Johns, and Johns back to Clint Newton, who tries to get rid of the ball. And Brisbane have come up with it through Carroll. Hunt then with a clearing run from dummy half.
Well, Andrew Johns will be having a quiet or not so quiet in the word of Clint Newton. Don't force the pass. Take the tackle. The pass will develop. It will come. Don't push it.
Stagg tackled by Smith and DeVico. Just beyond the Brisbane 30-metre line to the 40-metre line goes Sivanasiva now. And more replacements out there with Lowry also on now for Newcastle. 3 metres on the Brisbane side of halfway to be played by Webke. Perry is with the ball. Goes back looking for Lockyer, and Lockyer gets it on to Tate. And Tate gives it away to Boyd. The 19-year-old flyer on the right flank. He puts the kick in, and a race for the ball. Sees it go over the dead ball line with Todd Lowry.
He's a talented player, this kid. He's a talented player, Darius Boyd. Another one of the young guns. Look at this beautiful shot from the chopper. Down the right-hand side of the field. He's on his own. 2 Newcastle Knights. I'll back the ability chip and chase. Got a little bit of a check-in running. But just the ability at top speed to put the perfect kick in and get it to stay in play. Tremendous talent.
Let's go, Knights.
It's a really big effort too from Todd Lowry. I know he's fairly fresh in comparison to the other players, but he's a back rower who's played some 5/8 for the Knights this season. He's travelled 50 metres from the inside to get back and help his fullback.
Dropout time again. This time from Johns, it's not very big. In fact, taken on the feet by Brent Tate on the 30-metre line. Newcastle's end of the ground. Carroll takes a tackle that is centralised play on the Newcastle 20-metre line. They're 20 metres in from touch. He plays it back to Berrigan, who goes for a little dummy half run before giving it to Siva. And Petro will play the ball right in front of the uprights. He's 12 metres out. Played back for Berrigan. Berrigan gets a decoy from Webke. Lockyer gets it away to Carlaw, and Carlaw is 2 metres short of the line. Berrigan looking for Lockyer. There he is. Lockyer, little ball off the hip back to Carmichael Hunt. Well read Newcastle. Well read by Brown. Now it's come away for Lockyer. A little kick in, and Hodges scores. Justin Hodges. The put down looked okay. Was he onside? They will check all that, but it looks like a try.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many problems with this one, Ray. Hodges has taken the ball out of the hands of Brian Carney, and I think it was set up by the previous play. Even though Carmichael Hunt got smashed, it attracted defenders towards the play the ball, and they got a fairly quick one going. Matt Gidley has raced up. Again, Brian Carney has stayed a long way back, and Justin Hodges runs into the gap. Looks as though Carney has got the better placement, but Hodges throws the hands out, grabs it, slams it down. Not far out from half-time. They could lead by 18.
He just snatched it. He really just snatched it off him. The big, long levers, the long arms of Justin Hodges. He's got good short-term speed for a big man. Another great talent in this Broncos back line. And he's just stolen that one, Rabbits. Took it right out of his hands.
This will be a try. It is. Scoreboard goes out to 16-0. A break before the kick. With half-time about 5 minutes away, Corey Parker is the man on camera, taking over the kicking from Darren Lockyer, who got 1 from 1. And now Parker puts it straight between the uprights again. Brisbane on fire at the moment. Newcastle making a lot of mistakes. Ben Aiken sideline.
I can tell you the Brisbane Broncos have turned up with their games heads on tonight. They're absolutely on fire. The thing I'm liking most about their game is the effort from Sean Berrigan to really create variety around the ruck. When he does, it enables Darren Lockyer to have the space he needs to create havoc on the fringes. And isn't he doing just that?
Oh, what a take there from Darren Lockyer. It was a dangerous kickoff. It was going to go dead if he'd have missed. Completion rates. They both have 18 uses of the football. 16 times the Brisbane side have completed, only 13 for Newcastle. They're paying the penalty for too many mistakes at the wrong end of the field.
Siva with still a spring in the step. Tackled inside the 40-metre line. Berrigan gets a call from Parker, and Parker tries to bust through where the markers were. In fact, he found they were still there. Berrigan again, this time goes out and looks for Carmichael Hunt going up on the other side of the ruck. Hunt will play it just inside Newcastle's territory, and so Brisbane out to that scoreboard, 18 points where Manly were last Friday. Brisbane got it back to 18-6 before they came back. Newcastle, that is, with that tremendous finish in the second half.
And a couple of plays there that illustrate what Ben Aiken was talking about. We don't associate in a play from the hooker dummy half with the Brisbane side. On that occasion, that set of 6, we saw 2 and 3 up the middle of the ruck. Even Carmichael Hunt coming up and get involved. Berrigan has added something in that area.
Play by Lowry. This is Clint Newton, and he's tackled on the 40-metre line. Held down by Carroll and Siva, just slowing the ball down as long as they can get away with it. Johns for Kurt Gidley, and Kurt Gidley is caught in an awkward position by Perry's tackle. Johns folds around to the blind side to put the kick in. It's going down towards the uprights and will go dead. So 20-metre restart for Brisbane.
Well, 18, you've got to stop thinking about the scoreboard here and get back to the game plan to give yourself the best chance, no matter what the scoreline. And that's what Michael Hagan will address his team along those lines. It's all about controlling the football, as they did last week, as we saw the Dragons do last night. You win football games on the back of control of the football and strong defence.
Here's Carroll with a bustling run. It's ended on the 40-metre line, ended under the tackle of Clint Newton. Here's Webke now, putting some more metres out there for Brisbane. He's put down on the halfway line. Coming in over the top, Riley Brown on top of Craig Smith, and there it goes from Berrigan. Away it goes to the 14, Corey Parker. And Brisbane now making metres without finding too much defence there in front of them. And here it is with Lockyer. He's picked up and put down. Ball and all tackle by Craig Smith. It comes from Berrigan and goes to the right for Perry. Perry puts it on the ground. A grubber kick in behind for Kurt Gidley. Beats one. A Brisbane player fell over out wide. Kurt Gidley sprinting down the left-hand side. Now he switches and comes in. Tackled eventually by Parker. Quick play the ball. It's gone from Riley Brown, gone to George Carmont, gone over to Anthony Quinn. They come back to the centre. They find Andrew Johns. The ball goes to ground. Snapped at by Perry.
Time out, he's kicked it away.
Matthew John sideline.
Yeah, this game reminds me very much like a game in 1997 against Parramatta. It was a semi-final. We were down 18-0 after 20 minutes. And by holding on to the ball, a bit of belief, playing bodies of motion, sticking to the game plan, we end up winning 28-20. This isn't over for the Knights. They're just going to believe in themselves, stick to the script and get a result.
Johns out to Carmont on the left side of the ground. Carmont to play it 12 metres away from the Brisbane line. 18-0 in favour of Brisbane. Ball is with Perry, who's been, I would suggest, needled. Suffered a hip injury. Now it comes from Riley Brown. On to Johns. Goes behind a running forward to Mullen, to Kurt Gidley, to Matt Gidley, to Carney. Carney into touch. Good defence.
Into touch.
Good defence, Justin Hodges.
Good defence, Ray, and good communication in defence. As you watch that unfold, the Brisbane players were talking and pointing to each other as to who to get. Watch this as they come wide. Shane Perry on the inside to Stagg. Then Berrigan says to Shane Perry, he's yours. They work him towards the sideline, they run out of room, and that's the result. Good communication, smiles all round. Perfect way to defend your line with slide defence.
Just 1 minute now in the first half remaining. And the situation looking bleak for Newcastle. 18-0 down. 3 converted tries to Brisbane. Webke tried to bump away.
Ray, 19 is gettable for a side like Newcastle. But chasing any more, then it becomes too much of a task. Andrew Johns knows that 19 is gettable, but they've got to make sure that that's as much as it gets.
Oh, gee, there's been a head collision here. Regan Tanner has come in contact with the head of Riley Brown. Here is Berrigan, light stepping down to the 30. It's gone away for Carmichael Hunt, and Hunt scores at the northern end. Brisbane get another try before half-time. 22-0.
And about to be 24. 19 goes out the window. We're about to be looking at 25 to win the football game. And that is a huge blow. And again, it comes out of dummy half, just the one marker. Sean Berrigan realises it. Some light stepping to get through the front defensive line. Throws it early. He knew he had Kurt Gidley committed, but he knew he had the quicker men on the inside in both Carmichael Hunt and Darren Lockyer. And this is something that the Brisbane side have lacked in recent seasons. And Sean Berrigan has just become one of the real aces in their pack. Nice delivery of the pass. Didn't allow to get into a position where he could throw it forward. Saw the support players back on the inside behind him. And Carmichael Hunt, who Wayne Bennett has opted to play at fullback.
The most difficult kick of all for Lockyer. But then Parker's come on, and it's now 4 tries, 4 goals at half-time. 24-0 the score. From right to left, Newcastle. Is this their last 40 minutes? Johns takes us into the second stanza. Brisbane then, with Lockyer marking it, and it goes straight away to Webke. And Webke will play the ball about 25 metres out from his own line. Met and pulled down by Craig Smith and Riley Brown, together with Adam Woolnough. Now with Corey Parker bouncing away from a tackle that had a lot of shoulders in it, but it didn't have any arms in it, and thus he was able to make some more meters. 40-meter line then for Parker. And this is Berrigan who goes scurrying across the park to link up with Sivanasiva. And he will play the ball on the halfway line. 4 tries, all converted for Brisbane, as Lockyer goes back on the inside for Webke. And Webke is met there by Todd Lowry in jumper number 19. Woolnough taking a part in the tackle together with Craig Smith. From Berrigan, it's gone to Perry, and Perry gives it back to Carlaw. Carlaw is held in the middle of the ground and bent over, right on the Newcastle 40-meter line. And a penalty goes to Brisbane.
Come on, spinning around on him. Yeah, not waiting that
Well,
long.
at 24-0, you'd take the 2 points here, you would think.
Parker from 38. In front. Got it away, good. Beautiful kick. He's been somewhat of a revelation, this fellow, Corey Parker. He's possessed this talent, obviously, for quite some time. It's only in more recent times that we've come to know him as a goal kicker, and a good one, 26-0.
I think his whole game has improved this year, Ray. I thought he got to a plateau. He was an exciting young player, came into representative football quite early and then didn't kick on. But this year, he looks leaner, he looks fitter and more confident. He's had a really good season, good consistent season.
Kick-off time again for Newcastle. They didn't need to be doing this. Not first, anyway, in the second half. Webke tackled 11 metres out. 6 changes made by Newcastle, 4 by the Broncos. Webke, as I was saying in the first half, people thought it might be his farewell appearance, but it's looking good for the big fella. At least another week as Berrigan, who adds this spark in the number 9 jumper. As it comes now to the right side for Lockyer, who goes back looking for Parker on the inside. Carmont eventually makes a tackle together with Todd Lowry, played then by Parker. Hunt goes away from dummy half to Perry. Perry gives it to Carlaw, and Carlaw will play the ball on the halfway line. A little bit of indecision there for Brisbane. It wasn't smooth. They've been very crisp tonight. As the kick goes down into the in goal, it'll have to be brought back by Kurt Gidley, and Tate puts a ring around him there with Darius Boyd and Tony Carroll. So Newcastle then working it out of the southwestern corner to the 20-meter line, their own end of the ground. 26-0 the score in favour of Brisbane, and Anthony Quinn is injured. Quinn bound for Melbourne.
Make sure you pick it up, Quinny.
Saying to Stephen Clark, I'm okay.
2.
I think Clark was about to tell somebody else to play the ball, but Quinn gets the job done, and Woolnough goes through into open space.
3.
Brilliant chase by Lockyer, rounded him up. Now quickly it's gone from Riley Brown to Andrew Johns, and then he goes out to the right-hand side of the ground, and he picks up Regan Tanner. Tanner will play it 18 metres away from the Brisbane line. Brown for Johns, Johns for Kurt Gidley. Gidley tackled on the 10-metre line. Johns calling it left, and there goes the kick from Andrew. It's gone across, and it's taken there by Darius Boyd.
He went from the field of play to in goal.
He went from the field of play to in goal is the ruling. So we've got a line dropout.
There's a lovely set of 6 there from the Knights. The decision here is 100% correct. Boyd caught the ball, took it dead in goal. But Adam Woolnough showed a little bit of spark that was lacking in the Newcastle forwards in the first half. Broke into space. That allowed Johns to weave some magic, and a good 5th tackle option gets them a restart. Some points on the board for Newcastle will only do them good.
So there we are looking along that Brisbane try line. Brisbane taking plenty of time here because there's a trainer working on Webke. Benny Aiken on the sideline.
Yeah, firstly, some bad news for the Newcastle Knights. It appears as though Josh Perry will not be back. He suffered rib cartilage injuries.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Now it's a penalty. Craig Smith losing the ball.
Well, not only did he lose the ball, but he sat there and sulked about it. Now he loses the ball. Now I don't know whether he got one in an uncomfortable position. Maybe he couldn't get up, but he should have run and dived on it. His teammate picked it up in an offside position, and it was a penalty. Maybe he's gritting the teeth there, Craig Smith. Maybe he got hit where it really hurts and just couldn't quite get up for a minute. But it gave away a cheap penalty.
Webke getting the head well and truly swathed in bandages. And now Parker goes over to Perry, who does a little bit of a juggle. 25 metres away from the Newcastle line. How embarrassing for Craig Smith. And then it's Berrigan working behind the ruck together with Parker. 20 metres out from the line, they come to the short side. Carroll with a fend, and Carroll with a bump, and Carroll is tackled a metre from the line.
Kurt Gidley tackled that.
Was it Kurt Gidley, was it? It's gone out to Perry, and Perry is pulled down there by Brown. 7 metres out from the uprights, and here's Berrigan from dummy half. Carlaw should score, and Carlaw gets over. It's becoming a bit of a massacre now. That's Brisbane's number 5 try.
And Sean Berrigan, 2 plays in that set of 6 shows what he can do for this football team. It was only a marvellous one-on-one tackle by Kurt Gidley that stopped Tony Carroll, and then attracting 2 defenders, getting the football to Dane Carlaw, had to travel 3 metres to score the try.
Kick to come from Parker. He's got a perfect record, and he's had some pretty easy kicks. This one was easy, and he puts it over. 32 points to 0, 48 minutes gone. Ben Eichen.
Well, before that try was scored, I was about to give you the halftime report from both dressing rooms. Michael Hagan said he wants his side to hold on to the ball. Well, they haven't done that. He believes if they build pressure, they can get points and get back into this match. While Wayne Bennett from the Broncos rooms, he wanted his side to keep their foot on the gas and keep plugging away. And they've just got another try.
So every time we look up, Newcastle is placing the ball on the halfway. Webke plays it inside the 20-metre line. This is Tony Carroll, who almost scored the try himself. 22 metres out, tackled by Lowry and Carmont. Tate, who got one of the 5 tries, he's tackled 35 metres away from his own line. Brisbane joined the comp in 1988, the same year as Newcastle. Sivanasiva, as I said earlier, running very, very strongly tonight. Tackled by Reynoldsson, or more importantly, he slipped on the ground. You'd be surprised how greasy it is out there. Kurt Gidley tackled, 10 out from his own line. The kick down into the corner was perfectly placed. Matt Gidley gave the ball. Brian Carney runs it. Left winger operating on the right side. Matt Gidley going in to take a play now after Riley Brown gave him the ball from acting half.
Corey Parker.
Newcastle on their own 20, but it's a penalty going to them anyway. It's against Corey Parker.
Yeah, we saw a lot of penalties awarded early in the season for the flop. Not so many in the second half, but that one against Corey Parker as Johns decides to take the tap. And they pick up some 30 or 40 metres through George Carmont. Here's Adam Woolnough now finding some easy metres up the middle as well before he meets Webke.
Webke just put a shoulder into him, and Carroll and Sivanasiva made the tackle. Now Reynoldsson is able to go through and come out the other side, but with no legs. He'll play the ball on the 30-metre line. Brown away for Mullen. Mullen high, out for Kurt Gidley. Put him in an awkward position. He was tackled then by Perry. Ball played back for the 12. That's Newton. It's come across from Matt Gidley. Long pass out to Andrew Johns. It's gone to ground. Sivanasiva's with the ball. Sivanasiva gets rid of Reynoldsson. It's taken then by Lowry and by Mullen. Players on the Brisbane 30-metre line. Play back to Berrigan. Berrigan shows it to Lockyer, but again, it looked like a case of indecision for Brisbane. Just a couple of times they've gone looking for advice. Where do you want it? Who wants it? How do you want it? But all they get, the dummy half, is a blank look. That's Carlaw underneath. A Hannibal Lecter type appearance there. 40 metres away. Silence of the Lambs, wasn't it? Here is Stagg.
That's a lot of strapping for one little nick on the cheek.
You can say that again. I tell you what, they must have a big budget with the bandages. It's gone away to Perry and then on to Lockyer, and it's rifled out to Hodges. He looked on the inside to flick it to Berrigan, but he was taken down. 5 tackles gone, 25 out from the Newcastle line to the boot of Lockyer. He goes high over towards the uprights, and here they come, battered down by Newcastle. Line dropout off the hand of Anthony Quinn.
You're talking a little bit earlier about Sean Berrigan. He's an interesting case study. When he came to first grade, he was a number 7, a halfback. Wayne Bennett said after a few games, you're not a halfback, you're a centre. They moved him to the centres. They moved him back to halfback. They moved him to hooker. They moved him back to the centres. He's been all over the place. Now he's settled again in number 9. He's as dangerous as any player in the game.
Well, they use him well too, Gus. He actually defends out in the centre still and only comes into the centre of the ruck when they've got the football.
Brisbane now with Darius Boyd. Surging and probing across the 30-metre line. Will come down to Matthew Johns on the end of this play because it looks a bit dangerous again. Brisbane going inside the 20-metre line. They're 12 metres out from the line. That's Corey Parker making ground, reversing. Now it's a dummy to Thaiday, and then it's gone to Perry, gone to Big 7 Asiva. Look out, here he comes. Petro is tackled. Or is he over the line? What's this all about?
Check to see if he got that to the line, and if he did he get a second go at it?
Well, if anyone deserves one tonight, it's the big number 10. He's back to the kind of form that he took into Origin football. He's got a smile on his face. I don't know whether it's a confident smile about scoring. It's either going to be a try, a double movement, or a play the ball. And that will be determined by... Well, it's not a double movement. Take that out. It's either going to be a try or play the ball.
You might be wondering about the pad. Is the pad part of the line? It's not.
At least the good thing here tonight, Rabbits, they've painted the lines. We couldn't see them last night under the long grass. At least there's a bit of white chalk there. I can't see anyone in a better position than Steve Clark is right there. He's nearly got his head between that fella's legs.
And the question is, why did Clint Newton decide to give it a little kick if he didn't think it was on the line?
Have a look at Petro. The innocent look on his face. He's got it down. Now he loses it. He gets it back. He looks up to the referee with the big wide eyes. Now he'll put it back over the line. Yes, sir. I've scored, sir.
Brian Carney obscures our view.
Looks like he's short there on that picture, doesn't it?
I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling a little bit of the football is touching the line. I thought he'd come down on the goalpost pad, and that's not part of the line if in fact it's that part protruding into the field of play.
And the fact that Clint Newton has dislodged a football, if it's no try, he's short, do they still let him come back to the 10-metre line and play it?
That look on the face of Petro Sivanaseva, you'd like to bottle that and show it to him in about 40 years' time.
I think Stephen Clark's got to look like it's going to come back ref's call. You've got to decide.
It is ref's call, and he gives it. Stephen Clark is awarded the try number 6 to Brisbane. And it's not getting any better for Newcastle. Decidedly worse, in fact. 24-0 is 36-0, about to become 38-0. A try to Petro Sivanaseva.
Well, he's having an easy night, Corey Parker, in the kicking department. I know Shane Webke gets a lot of raps about his play and the fact how intelligent and articulate he is off the field as we see the 2 points added. Well, Petro Sivanaseva is exactly the same. Excellent to have a conversation with. Very good student of the game. He's having a good season as we see the dismay on the Newcastle bench. It's a tough way for your season to finish.
Matthew John sideline.
Yeah, just want to come on the back of what Gus said about Sean Berrigan. It's funny with the Broncos, because not really since the days of Kerr Walters have they looked to play with a creative moving dummy half, and at times it's really hurt them and hurt their creativity, and it's put too much pressure on the guys who wear the 7 and the 6. But Berrigan's in great form, and I mean, with Berrigan playing the way he is at the moment, they could very well win the competition. It's a big turnaround for the Bronx.
Well, I pointed out earlier in the telecast that they would have no fears going in against Canterbury. They've inflicted a couple of big victories over Canterbury through the home and away segment of our competition. So that would have been a bit of an inspiration for Brisbane tonight. If we can jump this hurdle against Newcastle, we'll get a shot at Canterbury, and they don't hold any fears. And keep in mind, since they played Canterbury, Canterbury have lost Asatasi, Tonga and Grimaldi. Now here's a ball flicked out by Parker. Gone to Carroll. Carroll away. Tate puts it on the inside for Lockyer. And Lockyer, he becomes the club's highest point scorer. He's gone past Michael De Vere. He took himself off from goal kicking earlier. He was 3 behind De Vere going into the game. Parker came on, and unselfishly, Darren took himself off goal kicking. Now he goes past Michael De Vere with a try.
And it's not just the Lockie show, as the sign said, it's the Brisbane show. And Corey Parker, we gave him a rap earlier about how much better and consistent this season has been. He initiated this with a beautiful offload. The pass from Sivanasiva didn't find the mark, but it ended up in the right hands. Watch this, the right hand in behind. It's not an easy pass to deliver. Tony Carroll onto Brent Tate. The defence comes across, there's 4 jerseys inside, but the widest one was the number 6, who gets it down under the post.
$1,065 points for Darren Lockyer, the highest point scorer in Brisbane's club history. 106 tries, 315 goals and 11 drop goals. If Parker kicks another conversion.
This is tough for the Newcastle Knights. You know, when you get to September football, you not only want to be in good form, you've got to have 3 or 4 big efforts left in you. And I got the feeling that both Newcastle and Manly last week, that was their big effort, and they didn't have much more in the tank. Where the Dragons and the Broncos, they looked like they still had so much more to give in this final series. This is a terrible place for the Knights to be. There's 24 minutes left on the clock, and they're down 44-0. It's a terrible place to be.
It is a very disappointing place to be, especially after they've come so far. They were last year's wooden spooners. They've gone through to the final 6 this season from running last year. And this, well, it's taken some gloss off that, because the scoreline, we still have 23 minutes to go, and you think there are more points to come.
Lockyer plays it on his own 40-metre line. Tries 7 in all now. 8 goals, 7 tries, 44 points to 0. Carroll getting some attention as the ball goes to Hannett, who's on in 16. Hodges, they've brought Carney in from the wing again. It's come away from David Stagg and been taken by Maguire. And Maguire's able to flop it back down into the hands of Lockyer. Lockyer away to Brad Thorne. Thorne away to Lockyer. Lockyer down towards the 10. Here they come again. And Darius Boyd goes in to score. Try number 8. Brisbane racking up tries as they want to. 48-0 now.
Well, it's all getting ugly. Newcastle unable to stop the players now, and the Broncos in the luxurious situation where they've got Ben Hannett and Casey Maguire out there. Their first touch of the football with 20 minutes to go. Too big, nice double around from Darren Lockyer. Had support in numbers on the outside. He went for the widest man, the man who was most unmarked, and that was Darius Boyd.
Ironically, the biggest defeat that Brisbane's ever inflicted on Newcastle was 42-8 at ANZ Stadium, would you believe, in 2001, the year that Newcastle won their second grand final. So Darren Lockyer featuring again in this match as he did in round 9, when they scored 5 tries in losing to Newcastle, 32-30. Lockyer was in everything that night, trying to dig his team out of trouble. They went down 32-30 at Energy Australia.
That was only 2 days after the Test match too, Ray. Australia up against New Zealand. And Corey Parker he can throw them over where he's having to take attempts.
Andrew Voss sideline.
The half-century comes up 50-0, 8 tries and 8 different try scorers. Darius Boyd added to the list. Have a look at your program, Rabs. Hodges, Boyd, Tate, Stagg, Hunt, Lockyer. So every player from fullback through to 5'8" has scored. You add to that Sivana Siva and Carlaw. We've got all sorts of stats running now, but how many different try scorers have we had in a final series in almost 100 years they've been playing the game?
I'll give you another stat, Andrew. At the moment, 50 points is the biggest winning margin in finals history. It is 50 to blot with an hour of play almost gone. Darius Boyd, the try scorer, tackled inside his own 20-metre line. Berrigan goes over for Thaiday, who's on the end of a Johns tackle. Some assistance and in fact completed by Matt Gidley. Now with Justin Hodges going down the left side. Craig Smith making the tackle. Nothing has gone right for Newcastle. It looked like it might turn out to be one of those days in that first half when they made mistake after mistake after mistake, and eventually Brisbane took try after try after try. And that vein has continued. We were hoping at halftime that they may come back like they did last Friday, but such is not the case. Brisbane are in full flight. Back in the dressing rooms, that is Stephen Simpson, one of the 2 star players out of the Newcastle side.
We knew that would have an effect. Steve Simpson and Danny Badiris both missing. I don't think we realised to this magnitude, and it's a sad ending to the tenure of Michael Hagan at Newcastle, who won a premiership his first year in charge there, only the 4th non-playing coach to do that. Off to the Eels next year, and this will leave a bitter taste in his mouth after what's been a wonderful time there for him personally. I know how much he's enjoyed being there and mixing with these players.
Reynoldsson is with the ball. What's the biggest shellacking you've been on the end of, Sterlo? Can you remember it?
64-12, I think, Ray. And
you can't forget it.
We led 12-6 after 20 minutes.
And got beaten what?
64-12, I think.
What's the feeling like?
Oh, I still wake up in the middle of the night sometimes.
Yes, Selena was telling me about it. Now it's come down to Mullen, gone on to Reynoldsson, knocked down by Brisbane, picked up by Carmon. And down it goes again. Wasn't played out.
That was.
Yeah, it's gone forward. What about you, big fella? You're standing there like a statue. What's the biggest hiding you've taken? I mean, on the football field.
As a coach, I was lucky. I never had a team concede 50 points in all my coaching career. As a player, I remember we got beat, the Penrith Panthers got beat 55-3 by North Sydney at North Sydney Oval. And I think Big Bill Hamilton was the man of the match. We couldn't contain the big fella. Mind you, we couldn't contain any of them.
Craig Smith has tackled with the ball now for Newcastle, just inside the 40-metre line. Played back for Quigley, and it's gone to Johns, and he's gone back, and he's picked up Tanner. Tanner got the ball away well. It's gone on from Johns. It's gone back to the 15, Craig Smith, after the centre three-quarter Carmon had a handle. It's gone on to the right of the ground for Jared Mullen. Now it's gone back for Clint Newton. Oh! They turned him over and put him down. Sivana Siva was involved in the tackle. 16 metres away from the Brisbane line. I just thought we might have had a little bit of an inquiry into that tackle. Johns for Carmont, Carmont for Tanner. Tanner is held by Brisbane. 15 out from the Brisbane line. 50 points to nil as the score in favour of Brisbane. Ball rolled into the in goal and Maguire takes it dead. Casey Maguire.
There's very heavy contact over here. Clint Newton, Sivana Siva and Thaiday. Well, Thaiday was the main culprit, but it's fine. Lands him on his back. And to his credit, Clint Newton straight up.
Looked a fair bit like Badiris to me, if you ask the question. He's in exactly the same position. You flip him up, you flip him up.
Yeah, well, I didn't think that looked as dangerous. I thought it didn't come down anywhere near the neck.
I thought Badiris was an extremely harsh penalty for one with such a great record, but apples are apples.
Craig Smith with the ball now on the 30-metre line. Maybe it will come back to be investigated. Now it is with Reynoldsson just outside the 20-metre line, where he's wrapped up by Big Brad Thorne. As Quigley passes to the centre of the ground for Johns, who goes second man for Kurt Gidley, who shows it to his brother. His brother leaving the club at the end of tonight, along with Anthony Quinn and a couple of others. Ball bouncing at the feet of Craig Smith. It's gone over to Carmont. Smith, in fact, one of those players. I think he's retiring. And Quinn to Melbourne, Gidley going to Super League as it goes across from Johns, and it's taken by Quigley.
Brian Carney off to the Titans as well, Ray.
Reynolds in 17, a dummy half. It's gone to Johns, who puts a kick over. Carney's coming fast, but it's taken over there beautifully by Hodges. Everything has gone pretty much perfect for Brisbane, as the scoreboard would suggest.
I wonder what's going through the mind of Andrew Johns. You know, you think about the great players this late in their career, as one other champion leaves the field, Darren Lockyer, for a well-earned break. But Andrew Johns, there was some thoughts that maybe if the Knights won this competition, he'd hang the boots up. You wonder how much football's left in that body with the injuries he's had. He's done everything in the game that you can achieve. And, you know, it would leave a really nasty taste in his mouth, this 50-0 scoreline, and you'd feel it almost definitely bring him back. This fella's got more football to play, Lockyer, next week against the Bulldogs. What a clash that'll be. What two great games we got next week. The Bulldogs and the Broncos. That man will be a key member of the side. And the Dragons up against the Melbourne Storm. The top four teams have risen to the top when it counts.
Those two matches against the Bulldogs for Brisbane that I've talked about, 25-6 at Suncorp in round 12 and 30-0 at Telstra in round 24.
What a forward battle that shapes as. And well, I think one bloke who we just saw featured in that heavy tackle over there in Thigh Day has really improved since Origin as well. He's one of those players that reacted positively from the experience. Wayne Bennett finding much more game time. In fact, he's starting football matches for them now, and his career has really blossomed from that experience of playing for his state in that kind of environment.
Matt Gidley tackled over on the eastern side of the ground by Justin Hodges. Ball bouncing and picked up on the half volley there by Andrew Johns, who immediately reefs it down into the corner where Carmichael Hunt will watch it go dead in goal. 50 points to nil, and Andrew Johns on the end of one of his biggest hidings, I would imagine, if not the biggest ever in his career. I just wonder now what we make of the fact that this side leading by 50 tonight. I'm just wondering how good St George Illawarra might be. They put this team away by, what, 20 points last weekend?
Well, we're going to find out next Saturday night. They're interesting matchups, aren't they? The Bulldogs and the Broncos next Friday night here at Aussie Stadium. They played in a grand final against each other on this ground. And then Saturday night at Telstra Stadium, Storm and the Dragons. Remember 1999? They played each other in a grand final on that ground. So there'll be great memories for both clubs, both sets of fans. Two giant games of football.
This is Carlaw, bandaged up like a mummy. This ball taken down in the in goal by Kurt Gidley. He's on return. Taylor's after him, Gidley away from him. Ben Hannett kept going. He made the tackle. 10 metres out from his own line.
Probably a bit unusual to wrap a fullback when the scoreline's 50-0. You think they mightn't have had such a good game, but I think Kurt Gidley has justified Michael Hagan sticking with him in that position. He's tried terribly hard tonight, as has all the teammates, but he's come up with some good, strong plays, especially that tackle on Tony Carroll on his own line.
Just taking that conversation a tad further. Wasn't it Newcastle that gave the Dragons a whipping this year by a big margin down at Wynn Stadium?
Yeah, and then the Dragons paid them back when they went to Newcastle as well. You've got to look at the fact that the Dragons last week were 20 points to 4 winners over this Broncos team, and the Broncos played pretty good. A chance for Newcastle down the right. Carmichael Hunt's got it covered. He'll take it dead in goal. The Dragons beat the Broncos 20 points to 4 in a comprehensive beating, and the Broncos have turned up here tonight with plenty to offer and have put 50 on their opposition in 60 minutes. That's how good the Dragons are going.
That was a strange old game down at Wynn Stadium. It finished 54-6, and after the first 20 minutes there was very little in it. A week later the Dragons hit back to win the game, and it was no coincidence that Matthew Head was involved in that win a week later. I still think that he's the joker in the pack for the Dragons, been used well by Nathan Brown, came into the game at half-time last night. But they completed last night 40 from 44 uses of the football. That's unheard of. They made 2 errors in each half, the Dragons.
This is Anthony Quinn, tackle with the ball, 25 metres away from the Brisbane line. 50 points to nil, repeating, if you've been out for a dinner party or whatever, and you thought Newcastle had a chance, well, you were just wrong. They're down by 50 to 0 to Brisbane. The Sunshine Staters are in front and they are giggling. Now it's come away for Reynoldson to be tackled. 7 metres out from the Brisbane line, tackled by Ben Hannon. Quigley, knock on Johns. Knock on by Andrew. So not even the champions are spared from the embarrassment. Wasn't a hard one for him to catch.
Like I said, it's a terrible place for any player to be. It doesn't matter how great you are or how inexperienced you are. To be 50 behind and still 20 minutes left to play, you want the ground to swallow you up. You want it over. You'd be so happy if they just called it off and went to the dressing rooms, and you've got this 20 minutes of agony to go through, and you just want to go home. Fair dinkum.
Trying to talk him into declaring, aren't you? Give us a bat.
Benny Eichen on the sideline. Yes, Ben?
Yeah, well, I think the Broncos have been very, very good tonight. We can't discount the fact that Newcastle come here probably a little bit underdone, maybe a little bit flat from that physical contest against the Seagulls last week. The other thing is there's no Danny Badiris, no Steve Simpson. They've been huge losses. Newcastle are nowhere near their best tonight. So the Broncos, they're going to go up another gear against the Bulldogs. They've got to be better than they were this week if they're going to be a chance of bringing home the bacon.
I mentioned that 50 to 0 is the biggest finals winning margin at this point in time. Just supposing they pull the curtain down at 50 to 0, it would be the biggest winning finals margin ever. I wonder, can you tell me who it was that set the record? The 2 clubs. You'd have to be pretty old to remember. It was 1944 at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and the Blue Bags of Newtown beat St George 55 to 7.
Who'd you give man of the match?
I think I gave it to Frank Farrington or somebody like that.
No, good choice. He played well.
40-metre line for Newcastle. Andrew sideline.
What about this shot that'll tell the story of the match at the moment as the Knights get a penalty? What about the 4 hombres on the bench for the Broncos at the moment? Sivana alongside Lockyer, flanked by Webke and Berrigan. 4 of their very best on the bench with 8.5 minutes remaining. That's the cue in the rack. They know they're well and truly home.
He doesn't smile often, but I would imagine even the Brisbane coach, Wayne Bennett, if he's not smiling externally, he'd be smiling internally. I'll give you the tip. He'd be getting great satisfaction out of his team putting this one together. Played over there by Luke DeVico. From Johns, it's gone to Mullen. Mullen away for Tanner, the back rower. Peter talks about Gidley playing good at fullback, which is pretty hard to imagine in this game as Mullen drops about a metre short. Good tackle by Parker. Quigley gets the pass away. It's gone on to Johns. He flicks it into Reynoldson to complete what I was saying. Tanner, the 13, he hasn't played too badly. Gone from Quigley, gone to Johns. Johns to Gidley. He puts it down.
Hand over.
So it's turnover for Brisbane inside their own 10.
See, it's mistakes like that. You can say Badiris and Simpson are missing, but Reynoldson put balls down in the first half. So did Newton. That put them under tremendous pressure. Now you're seeing players drop all simple passes. That's got nothing to do with Badiris Simpson being out. That's got plenty to do with the quality of the defence and the pressure they put on them. Just because 2 great players are missing, Badiris and Simpson, it's no reason for others to miss tackles and drop the football. You've got to credit the Broncos with that. They've put the pressure on them.
David Stagg in all of that plays the ball. He was the first try scorer for you people that bet on that particular medium. First try scorer, number 4 for Brisbane, Stagg. It's gone from Perry through to Maguire, who's heading for Le Catalan, I believe. And then it's Hannant with the ball. Almost tried to say Hannant in French as well. Made a complete botch of it. It's gone away from Berrigan and gone, what are you laughing at, Gussett? With Carroll! Carroll gets the ball away! This should be Darius Boyd, but a brilliant tackle
That is a
Kurt
touch.
Gidley came off his line. Great tackle.
Should have been Tony Carroll
20.
scoring.
Hit the corner.
Darius Boyd only had to draw Kurt Gidley and pass it back inside. Lovely work. Tony Carroll throws it, dummy, throws to Darius Boyd. He just has to throw it back inside. Tony Carroll can't believe it.
Gives Rabbits another chance to have a go at Hannon in French. I'm really waiting to hear this. How do you think it goes, Rabbits?
No idea. I was just so relieved there was a break made, so I got off the subject before you picked on me, but you've come back to it. Here's Woolno.
It's a silent T on the end, Ray, trust me.
Le Catalan and Hanant it is. Now it's played there by Woolno. Quigley, the angle with Johns, and then Mullen. Back for Gidley. Kurt tackled on the halfway line. And the sound of the whistle gives a penalty. It's a flop. A flop against Brisbane, so Newcastle's penalty right on halfway. Crowd tonight, 22,081 at Aussie Stadium. The two out-of-towners, Brisbane and Newcastle. And of course, it's becoming increasingly possible that we could have Brisbane playing Melbourne in Sydney on grand final night.
I just wonder too, I think we'd have got 50,000 people playing this at Suncorp tonight. Broncos Newcastle. I think the league's got to be really flexible on these things. Consider the teams and their drawing powers in the cities. You can't be bogging down.
Scrappy ball, but you expect that with both teams. One is probably shut down, the other one throwing the ball about at will. And I tend to agree with Gus. I reckon we've got to be more flexible with the placement of matches. Woolno. Yes, Pete.
I just know it's a horrible thing to say, Ray, but it's excruciating. I just want the Knights to get over. Just to score.
Johns with a raking kick back into the middle, and Tony Carroll it was who obliged. So line drop out this time for Brisbane. What have we got? 4 minutes to go. 50-0. Still the biggest winning margin in a final.
And coaches at this end of the season, they love that zero score line. Nathan Brown delighted with the 28 points that they were able to get, but happier with the zero that his side was able to maintain. Wayne Bennett will be the same coming out of this game. Defensively, they've been tremendous. Although after the first 5 or 10 minutes, it was pretty much all one-way traffic.
Shane Perry taking the line drop out. He celebrated a birthday at the start of this week. He's an 11th of September birthday, and he's having another one today, only about 5 days later. Here is Quigley with a dart to the 10-meter line. Can Newcastle get over? 48 points is the biggest winning margin in a finals match. Newcastle desperate not to make that record book. Newton will play it. Quigley to the right for Johns, inside for Kurt Gidley. That's taken them out of the record book. 4 points for Newcastle. 50 points to 4 now. The difference 46. The differential Newtown and St George was 48.
Well, it means very little in the overall scheme of things, but it's a reward for some perseverance. It was the combination last week that proved so effective. Johns on the inside to Gidley. Thaiday was committed on the outside. 2 defenders going to Johns. That opened the hole up. Too much work to do for David Stagg. Despite dropping a ball moments ago, Kurt Gidley, I think he's played well at fullback. He's tried hard. And like Sivanasiva scoring, I think it's just reward for effort tonight.
Kurt Gidley, the try scorer. Matt Gidley, who captained the team tonight. Leaving the game from Newcastle's point of view to resume in England. Johns converting. 50 points to 6 now in favour of Brisbane. Andrew sideline.
And Ray, just wrapping up your discussion up there on finals venues come next year. The NRL says they will be flexible in the first 3 weeks of the playoffs. So this match, if it was played next year, it well could be at Suncorp Stadium. And on Kurt Gidley, by my count, boys, 3 try-saving tackles tonight. One on Sivanasiva in the first half, the 47th minute on Tony Carroll, and that one more recently on Darius Boyd. He's had a fine game.
Yeah, Suncorp, that's fine by me. Newcastle, that's fine by me. But if you had that flexibility, you could have gone to either of those venues. maybe you put a bigger cherry in the pie for being a first week winner. Mind you, there's Craig Smith, he's retiring. I doubt that Newcastle would want to be on the end of this, not in front of their home fans, the most passionate of all rugby league fans at Newcastle. They'd be doing a tough up there in the Hunter right now. DeVico almost out to his 10-metre line.
Here it is, Broncos, hold.
Just under 1 minute of the game to go. This is Craig Smith with his last carry of the game.
Hold here, boys, hold, go.
Carney heading for Gold Coast. His last game in the blue and red. Matt Gidley now. Just outside the 30-metre line, Quigley, who came into that famous number 9 jumper with an enormous task in front of him. And to be on the end of this hiding, it'll take a bit of getting over for young Quigley, who had to apply for time off just to be a part of the finals campaign. Carmichael Hunt takes the tackle in goal. This match, 50 points to 6, is over. And that margin of 44 points equals the second biggest winning margin in finals history. You can call it embarrassing, call it what you like. One thing that I must emphasize is that this has been a superb Brisbane performance.